If you were a 7-year-old kid watching Godzilla 9 times in 1 week on the $1 Million Movie, as I did in 1959, and I remember saying to myself, wait a minute, this is Perry Mason, and he's in Japan, he's in Tokyo, and Godzilla is destroying the city. It was only afterwards that I learned that in the Japanese version, you're not even in the movie.
Nor in Japan.
In 1956, Edmund Goldman saw the Japanese adaptation of Godzilla in a Chinatown theater. In actuality, the original Godzilla would be shown in limited release by Toho in several Asian theaters in the US, and contrary to popular belief, the name Godzilla was not coined by the American production. It would be Toho's international marketing team who would give the film the Americanized name. Fascinated by what he saw on screen, Goldman decided to purchase the international rights from Toho for $25,000. He would later sell the rights to Jewel Enterprises Incorporated, owned at the time by Richard Kay and Harry Ribnick. Kay and Ribnick, with backing from Terry Turner and Joseph A. Levine, produced the American adaptation. The production would hire Raymond Burr as the intrepid reporter Steve Martin. Wanting to ensure the adaptation was a success, they decided to hire an experienced editor to direct the American version in order to maintain the continuity and ensure that Raymond Burr was part of the original production. Terry O. Morse was selected because he had almost 30 years experience as an editor, as well as experience as a director of low-budget films. The working title for the American version before it was changed to Godzilla King of Monsters was Godzilla the Sea Monster. In the timeline of the actual Godzilla series, in Japan, the American version is not the third installment of Godzilla. In the same year, in 1956, Toho would produce the film Rodan, and the actual third film in the series would be released 6 years later in 1962. That film would be the iconic King Kong vs. Godzilla. The adaptation process consisted of filming numerous scenes featuring Raymond Burr and other Asian American actors. The scenes were inserted into an edited version of the Japanese original to create a new film. The new scenes, written by Al C. Ward and directed by Terry O. Morse, were photographed by Guy Rowe with careful attention to matching the visual tone of the Japanese film. Burr's character Steve Martin appeared to interact with the original Japanese cast through intricate cutting and the use of doubles for the Japanese principals in matching dress, shot from behind in direct interaction with Burr's character. The filming of the scenes was done over 6 days at Visual Drama Incorporated, 129 North Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles, California. Today, the former studio is now the Frank de Olmo Elementary School, formerly known as Belmont Elementary. In the American version, Godzilla's size was increased from 150 feet to nearly 400 feet because of the size difference between Japanese buildings and American skyscrapers. The production team felt that Godzilla's original size would be lost among the tall buildings of New York, the city most often compared to Tokyo. In the original Japanese version, several scenes reference not only to the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but also to the firebombing of Tokyo in World War II. The scenes would be deleted in the American version of the film, and due to the sensitive debate over the war and the Japanese nuclear bombings, the production company felt it could anger theatergoers because of the views of the bombings in the Japanese version. Godzilla King of Monsters was a success with American audiences, and because of this, it easily exported to Europe and South America, where it also had a successful run. The film would make its way full circle back to Japan, where it was exhibited with Japanese subtitles for the American dialogue. Toho released the American version of its own 1954 Godzilla to Japanese audiences over 1 year later in 1957. The studio dubbed it as being a CinemaScope production, but in fact Toho chopped off the top and bottom of the frame. These mutilated shots later made it into the studio's 1958 Daikaiju film, Baran. The film opened the door in the Americas and Europe for the import of Japanese science fiction, horror, and other commercial film products. It also brought to light Western awareness of Toho Studios, which had retained producer credit on the film. After its theatrical run, Godzilla King of Monsters became a sensation on television and eventually cable for decades. This opened the international market until today for dozens of Godzilla sequels.